Hello and welcome back. It is February 3rd. We survived January collectively. I truly did not think that I would survive January of 2025. It was a rough one, y'all. It's been like the longest month ever. I am never a January fan, but this year was through the roof. Terrible. I did have some good things happen though. And I'm going to show you because we're going to do a little flip through of my January in my Rosey Life Planner. This is a new endeavor for me. I talked about this a couple of videos back when I discussed my 2025 journals. Currently, they will change, but I hope that this one is steadfast through the year. This has daily pages, and I have been influenced over the years by many people, but especially this last year, I found Amy from It's Amy, y'all, and she is here on YouTube. I discovered her here. I now follow her everywhere, and I'm obsessed with her. She's the coolest, and she has just the funnest personality. She's hilarious. She's so creative and artistic. She shares everything on Instagram. I follow her stories. She does the coolest pages. So I wanted to be very carefree and make them fun and funky. And I do something very similar to this in some of my other journals, but I wanted one place. I love the Tomoe River paper. She uses a Hobonichi cousin. I'm using the Rosey Life Planner because I discovered this through another friend, Maddie. I'll also tag her. And the Rosey Life Planner, I loved the way that this was set up. It's from Finland, and I'll also tag their channel. But I ordered this and I love it. I love the setup. It's very, very similar to Hobonichi, but there's a couple of things that I really loved. And if I was going to design a planner, it would be set up almost 100% like this one. It did not have this cover, and there is no like plastic cover that they make for this particular book like they do with the Hobonichi or the Midori or the Stayology, all those different planners like that. I found this one on JetPens. I actually ordered 2 different sized ones, and I will also link those if you're interested. I think this is for maybe a Midori, and it actually works. It's got a little bit of space, so it will expand, but it fit well. It's A5, and I'm excited because again, I've stayed pretty well caught up in this. I'm going to show you a flip through. I'm going to show you how I use my tracker, what I'm doing with my weekly pages and my monthly and everything. And then I'll flip through my dailies. So let's get started. I'm going to put you overhead on the tabletop. Also, as a side note, if you see, I tried to strategically place this camera so maybe you couldn't see any boxes, but I'm afraid you're probably going to see some things that are stacked up in the corner because I'm getting ready to move. We may go off course a little bit from my normal journaling on this channel. Once I start a remodel, it's going to be an interesting year, let me just say, but we're going to put it all in here. Let's go. Okay, there's a glare. I apologize for the plastic cover glare. Also, I didn't mention it has the pin loop made into it. And I am loving this little, it's a Uniball 1 pin, and this one is, I think it's it's a 0.5 millimeter. I really bought it because of the color. I thought it would match well, and I'm really liking it. So when you flip open the Rosey Planner, again, you can see this is an A5, 2025. This is dated. They also make an undated one in the same size. Try to get that centered well. And there's a whole year at a glance, which I have done nothing with that. Don't know if I will. There's a couple of planning pages at the front, little grid. You can plan out your year here if you want to. Not sure yet what I'm going to do there, if anything. And then you go over to your monthly trackers. I like this because it gives you a little space at the bottom, which I've used to put a total of everything that I'm tracking, how many days that I actually hit what I wanted to do there. And I've kind of switched up my order for February where it makes a little more sense to me. And I may add more things as I go, and that's okay. It doesn't have to be the same every time, but I really like this. And I'm tracking using my mild liners. So there's that. And then you flip over I am covering that because it's my quarterly goals and that's kind of private to me. This was my biggest selling point for this Rosey planner. It has a quarterly setup. So it has a spot here for you to put your goals for your quarter, and then you have each month, January, February, March. Then it goes into your month. And then when that quarter's over, it has the next quarterly planning. Now, I have not filled anything in for January yet because I'm still trying to flesh out exactly how I want to use this to roll over from my goals. Hopefully, by the time I do my flip through of February, I will have that figured out and I'll share that with you. And then you go into your month. So I just wrote January here. This sticker, I don't even know where I got that, but I stuck it on there. And I am using this, I believe, as Amy does hers, where she just writes a little sentence, a little memory of the day, gives you a little, refresh of what happened that day. I've started February. And again, this is quarter 2 here. You can see second quarter. So I'll put my next quarter goals, and you have April, May, June, so forth and so on. So then after the monthlies, after all 4 quarters, there's December, it starts the weeklies. I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do on my weeklies because I have a bullet journal that I use just for kind of my daily life planning, to-dos, things like that. Tracy Shutterbean, I have followed her for years. She uses hers for affirmations and, different quotes and things. And I really like that. But I'm a big word person. Words kind of stick out to me. And actually, whenever I did my Hobonichi weeks back in the day, I would put a word of the week. I would kind of just keep that in my weeks. And it was just something that I could go back to, or it was something that would remind me of that week. And I'll be honest with you, these first probably 3 weeks of January, they were blank up until the past couple of days. And this was last week. This was kind of when I figured out what I wanted to do. So I just kind of went back and looked at my days, and I looked back on my Instagram stories and in my calendar just to kind of see what had stuck out to me. And I kind of went back and filled this in. I'm hopeful that going forward, this will be a little more present, going as I go. So this was last week. I have found this TikToker. She's from France, but she's Russian. She lives in Paris. She considers herself a Parisian. I am obsessed with her, and I feel like she is speaking straight to me whenever she talks. And she talked last week about regulating and activating. Actually, on my daily mark making that I do in the morning, where I create in an art journal, I actually used those words in that piece that I did. Hang on, I'll show you. I have that right here. This is my Delusions journal. This is the piece that I made last week, and I added regulate and activate because those just kept sticking out to me. And I use a lot of quotes and words in my art journaling. So I thought it would just be a good way to kind of keep up with my weeks as well. So I don't know. We'll see how February goes on that one. So those are the weeklies. And then you start the dailies. I'm going to do something here. I'm thinking about just a selfie. I'm going to pull a selfie from January, print it off, and do like a selfie each month, just so I can, you kind of see what you look like through the year. Put that on each month and I don't know, do something there. So these are my dailies. And I am literally using this as a junk journal. I'm using this as just a day in the life, memories, actual journaling, sketching, random things, whatever. That is what this is. So I had New Year's Day. It was pretty uneventful. We walked. That was about it. The day back to work, I got a free coffee, which, free coffee is always good. About to get a new tattoo. And so this is just some sketches and things that I did for that. Actually getting that this weekend. This is some pictures that I've printed out and I just printed these on paper. And I'll show you what I've done later on this month. But this is just printed on a regular 8.5 by 11. I pulled these over into Canva and printed them out, cut them out, glued them down. That's it. I used some stickers. This was kind of our Christmas that I had with one of my daughters and grandsons. And it was after Christmas, obviously. It was January 4th. But I am just using this as memory keeping, really more of like a scrapbook, that sort of thing. I rent from Nuuly, and I'd rented this green coat. I loved it. I wore it in New York City. It's actually called the New York coat, the New York City coat. That's like the name of it. And I wore it to work before I shipped back my Nuuly, and I got I wrote it's very polarizing. Like people would look at it and they were like either that coat is really awesome, or you could just see that they were looking at me going, okay, that's an interesting choice. It's very 70-ish feeling. I loved it. So I sketched that out. This was a pedicure. I went and got a pedicure, and I took off my gel that I've had on my toes. Like I just have been getting pedicures all along. I told them to take all the polish off, give me a pedicure, and I just was going to let my toes breathe for a while. Lo and behold, my toes looked terrible. I had smashed my toe. I mean, it was not pretty. So I actually traced my foot. This is actually a foot tracing on a piece of tan tissue paper, and yeah, that's my toes. Feet are so gross. This is just a sketch of my wall. The sun was coming in. It was so pretty, and I sketched it that day. We had a big snow in January, and that's all anybody was talking about for the whole week, because I'm in Arkansas, and when it snows in Arkansas, it is a huge deal. And so I cut these letters out of some gel prints that I did on, I think, deli paper. And of course, we did get lots of snow, about 6 inches. It was a snow day. I actually worked, but I worked from home, so it was kind of a partial snow day, I guess you could say. This is the next day, and it was Saturday, and it was a beautiful day. I love the morning after a snow when the sun comes up. It's so pretty. It's so quiet and beautiful and magical. So I took a picture outside, printed that off. We are working on our house list for our remodel. So I put that in here. This was kind of our initial list. And then this is the day that I filmed the YouTube video that's up 2 videos ago. So that was that day. This was my day back to work on a Monday, and I parked under this tree, and when I came out of a meeting that I was in, literal bird poop everywhere. I mean, I don't know what happened, but it was bad. So I was very violated. I have been on my local arts council for like 6 years. Well, 6 years. I served 3 2-year terms. So that was my last term. This was my last meeting, and they gave me this beautiful little plant. So I sketched the plant. They gave me these sweet cards and a gift card. So I put those in there. I taped them in. The next day I had a hair appointment. So, you've got to always memorialize that with a hair pick. Then the following day, it was absolutely beautiful outside, so I went on a walk, and after the snow and it was really, really cold, it was perfect for that. I had lunch with my BFF, and She has the cutest sweater that's got sheep on it and one black sheep, and I thought that was the cutest thing ever. So I took her picture. We always have fun when we have lunch. And I will say that I bought some sticker paper, and it's just the full matte sticker sheets. And so I did the same thing that I did over here. I just printed this out. This is just on my inkjet printer. But I did it on the sticker paper so I could just peel the backing off, and it was just easier to put down. We did a trip to Mountain Home just to do we like to go to some of the flea markets over there and thrift, and we had coffee and we ate lunch. This was also the night and morning that TikTok went off and came back on. So of course I had to memorialize that. This day was inauguration. It was the 20th, and it was blank for about a week because I was processing it, and I went back and journaled. And I do this sometimes when I want to journal, but I don't really want it to be legible. And I journaled just normally like this, and then I turned it to the side and I journaled going this way. And I think it does look pretty cool. It's just kind of masked, but yeah, my thoughts are there. My thoughts are still there. This is the actual packaging from a blueberry scone that my significant other brought me. Another friend of ours bakes, and she is about to open a bakery, and she sent this, and it had this beautiful little paper, deli paper, and in this box. And so, of course, as one does, you keep the packaging and you use it. And that's what I did. And then I drew the scone. I took a picture of it. So I drew it out. Again, I hit my goal of posting more than one YouTube video. This is another YouTube video that I posted recently with a flip through of my Februarage field notes that I did last year. So I memorialized that with a picture and a sketch. And I look angry in that. But that's the cover. It's funny. I got some new pens. So, of course, I put the packaging in. Did a pen test. This weekend, I had my granddaughters, and they haven't stayed with me for a while. And so I bought Wicked. We watched Wicked. We had so much fun. And then the following day, they love to do art. And so this is the youngest, Adeline. She did some art, and we cut it out and added it here. She did art on both sides here. And then Carly did some beautiful watercolor fruit, like my little ephemera that I do and use in my art journals. And it was so good. And she made herself a bookmark with it. And then I wanted to keep a couple of pieces, so she allowed me that. And there's some pictures of them. It was just such a special little weekend with them. Sunday was the playoffs. I'm a huge football fan. A couple of chocolates. I actually just printed out the logos and cut them out on the sticker paper and added them, put the scores in. The next day, I made myself one of my goals, my quarterly goals, is to do a really good self-care treat for myself each quarter. And I used to get massages pretty regularly, and I just kind of got out of the habit, to be honest. The massage place that I go recently added the head spa, and if you have one of those in your area, I highly, highly, highly recommend it. That was just amazing. So I did that on Monday. Actually took some PTO in the afternoon, and I went and did that and treated myself, and oh my gosh, it was so good. The next day, I went and got a bunch of storage boxes to start packing. And so this is just my Walmart receipt, and I did start packing. The 29th on Wednesday was Lunar New Year, and it's the year of the snake, and I loved this snake that I put in here. I thought that was so pretty. So I added Year of the Snake. And on Thursday, it was just kind of a mopey humdrum day. It was very rainy. It rained a lot. I woke up with a leak. So it's not really much to tell on that page. And then on Friday, I got the deed to the house that I inherited in hand. I've got to record it this week, but this is just a picture of some of I drew some of my packing boxes that were stacked up, and we have already started moving those into storage. Very excited. And that was the 31st. So that is January. That went so fast. That went so fast compared to how slow January was, let me just tell you. And I've already started February here. So I am very excited. I've done some pen testing back here. I'm very happy to share this. I will be sharing these monthly. Again, I'm going to tag below all the other people that I enjoy. Oh, there's where I started the Grammys. I have not filled that in yet, but I sketched that last night when I was watching the Grammys. So you're getting a little sneak peek there. But I will tag everybody below that I talked about, and I appreciate you being here. I just want to thank you for being here. If you liked this flip through, leave me a comment. Let me know what your favorite day was, what your favorite page was. Be sure and hit that subscribe and the bell and all the things, so I'll know you're here. Come back for the next video. I will do a flip through of the Junk Journal January art journal that I just finished recently. I'll be back with February with lots of hearts and love, which is so cheesy, but here we are. It's 2025. I feel like we can be as cheesy as we want to. Have a good one.